Man, Ron, we have hit a milestone.
Crazy. 50.
50.
50 shows.
50. I'm waiting for my gold from you.
We're going to go gold
anniversary.
It's a golden anniversary. 50 shows.
Oh, man. What a ride. I mean, I remember it was basically Black Friday. And we're like, we should launch this podcast.
Yep. Yeah, and then we just kind of, learned how to do it. Launched on 1/1/20, and now we're 50 shows in.
Crazy. All right. Well, let's cue the music, and then let's talk about these last 50 episodes.
Sounds good.
Let's get to it. Have you ever wondered how highly successful entrepreneurs think?
So did we. So we asked hundreds of entrepreneurs a very simple question. If they had perfect hindsight, what advice would they give themselves?
I am Corey Carter.
And I'm Ron Cool.
Join us on our journey implementing and sharing all of our learnings while we hack our hindsight along with our guest hindsight to give us all better foresight.
Listen along the way as we find and unlock their secrets that made them successful through hidden traffic, joint ventures, and much, much more. This is Hindsight Hacking.
Well, Ron, we are at our 50th episode. These words that we were saying now will be commended on that 50, forever enshrined on that number 50.
Right. Yeah, you can never place it on a different show. That's for sure. It is 50.
Yeah. So, of course, it makes you reflect on what's happened. And I was thinking about how we had no clue come Black Friday. We spent all of December fumbling through, barely getting by, imperfect action, and we launched on January 1st. But what's your favorite memory from December as we went through that process?
So before we launched?
Yeah, before we launched.
I think just the process, I didn't know anything that we were doing. So that was kind of fun. And then just watching it go from an idea to going into iTunes. So, I just remember the day we got the letter that we were accepted into iTunes, right? So that was just like, oh my gosh, that was the moment that we couldn't turn around. Like, it's out there.
Right. It was real. It was real at that point, huh?
Right.
Yeah, I just, kind of the same thing. I remember that feeling I had of, okay, I guess we're going to do a podcast, on that Black Friday. And it was just like, as we went through each day, because there was stuff to do every single day.
Right.
And luckily Jamie Atkinson had it broken down into small enough steps that we could accomplish it, but it was just one little thing at a time. And while it was uncomfortable to record that trailer and try to figure things out, now I look back and I'm like, this is kind of second nature now.
Yeah. So another memory of mine is, like, do you remember, just since we were new to mixing and all that other stuff, if we made a mistake, we just started all the way over?
Yep. There goes 10 minutes of work. Let's start over 50 times.
Right.
All right. So on our 10th episode, we came on and we kind of talked about that whole experience a little bit. So that was around first or second week of January 2020.
Right.
Tell me, what has been your thoughts from January through now, or what are a couple highlights that stand out to you since that time?
I think the biggest highlights are the people we've been able to talk to. We had Cashflow Tactics on with Ryan and Brad. That was awesome. Alex, that was a fun show. Alex Elliott. We had Catherine Jones. That was a great show. We were able to connect with a lot of people. Gosh, I can drop names all day long. but the one that kind of stuck out was JB the Wizard.
Yeah.
Right? That was just such a unique show. I think that was the first time that you and I did the show in the same room together when we were talking to a guest.
Yeah, instead of doing the Zoom and across the state or the country or wherever. That's right. That was it changed the energy for sure.
Right.
It would be preferable to do that definitely. So, so I was thinking about how before we went to launch and we were like, oh, we want to have 8 partners to launch with. And we're like, who on earth is going to be on our show and why? And,
right.
And we're like, well, because the show's awesome. But at the end of the day, like now I look at it and I'm like, we don't need more guests. We need to slow down. Like we've got other stuff to do. But it, it's just like everybody has been so giving. And you're right. Like, gosh, we've had some amazing people, Lisanne Murphy, even Luke Dupron, like, he's not as well known in some of the circles that we currently are in, but, I just remember his talk on the fitness side. And like, if you're going to sacrifice a little bit of time now to work out and be healthy and be fit, so you can actually spend some good quality years with the family. And like, I don't think I'll ever forget that. And, but another thing that through this journey, we've personally changed a bunch. And our show, while we have so many different ideas just for this show, from some of the daily stuff that we want to do to our podcastinars. And now we've had 2 guests officially launch the podcastinars. No, 3. Gosh, 3. I almost missed. We just finished one yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, what's fun is the journey, looking back. I mean, Podcastinar was born on the show. Like that was something that we were talking on the show, and Dan was like, hey, what if I, do this? And I was like, hey, what if you just do a webinar on our show and we'll just call it a Podcastinar, right? And it turned in, it just was kind of a side comment that turned into a thing that people have really enjoyed.
Yeah. So now it's a piece of evergreen content. Those 3 people, they can go to podcastinar.com and you can look at each show and actually hear the things going on, hear the training that Dan did, hear the training that Jason and Doug did. But on top of that, now they can actually see what Jason and what Doug did, right?
Absolutely.
So, because now we're on the YouTube and we've always been doing the video for our interviews, but at first we were like, no, it's too hard. Don't focus on video. But then now you're telling me it's easier.
Oh my gosh, it's so much easier. Like just the process itself, you instead of how I was thinking how I had to do video, thought there was more steps involved to the whole, Hindsight Hacking podcast show. It's actually easier. You record all the video, you're done. You put some, skins on it. You're on YouTube, rip the audio. There's your podcast. You're done.
Yeah. And, we've got some subscribers now and people watching. And, I think, this is overall, like we're still scheduled out through end of August with shows. We, but more importantly, the people like you already mentioned, like the amazing guests that we've had. But forget the person aside, but what's kind of been, you talked about JB the Wizard in that interview because of how you and I were in the same room together. But what has been something like your best learning or best piece of advice that you've learned from one of our guests?
Oh my gosh, cash flow tactics. Right. So we did that mini series, if you will, just how people that have money invest their money. Like I've talked about that to Rachel. I've talked about it to my mom. I've talked about it to multiple people. And it made me look on just my 401k, if that's the way to go or not. And actually going through their challenge, it wasn't. And it was so eye-opening for me that it's really changed how I deal with money.
I mean, for sure, rise up, live free, baby.
Right.
Ryan and the Cash Flow Tactics motto. And I mean, with money in general, like I've always had this like unknown thing that I just don't, like you said, the 401k I was unsure about. Like you don't want to pass up free money if the employer's giving it to you, but I always knew there was something else. I just didn't know what or why or, anything, what made me feel the way I felt. And then everything that they did definitely spoke to me for sure.
Yeah,
again, there's been just so many, but like Josh Forty. I mean, his audience hacking thing. I mean, his whole just mentality and everything that he does, and some of the things of what he's done for Steve Larson and for the Cash Flow Tactics guys, like every single bit of stuff he does for building the social media platforms and making it helping them monetize is insane. When they launched Cash Flow Tactics, their Facebook group and their challenge, I mean, I think it was something like 150 grand that they made in the first 30 days. Like it's insane.
Yeah, no, I think, not only have we been doing this podcast show, but we've got a couple books now on Amazon, right? Got the hacking series about to go up there. We got Hacking Your Why, Hacking Your Perfect Day. Hacking Your Goals will be up there very shortly. And then we've got some great ideas for our 100th show. So stay tuned. That will be fun. But, I think there's going to be a lot of other things that we're going to be putting, Hindsight Hacking involved with.
Yeah. All right. So we spend a lot of our shows learning and having our guests really educate our audience. And we definitely do that because we wanted to learn. And if you're going to have someone on your show, right, if you're going to invite people, you want to have something you can learn from, right? So, but let's flip that script. So now we went from, in December, we didn't have an idea of really what we wanted to sell, right? Nope. Of who we wanted to serve. We didn't have that idea. And so through this whole process, we have really learned, like, how can we do what makes us happy and serve the right people?
Yeah.
So give our listeners a little bit of insight into that.
Well, we just closed a record breaker month in sales. We feel this month will eclipse that. So that's exciting. We've got a bunch of new clients, but let's back up. When we started the show, and we were thinking of a name, we picked Hindsight because it was the year 2020, right? And then hacking because it was kind of a term right now. Didn't understand how we were going to monetize anything. That was just the name of the show, right?
Yeah.
And then, going through Jamie's course and understanding how to monetize the show, but really understanding that person we want to serve and making sure that we're able to take our superpowers, if you will, and package them in a way that can help people for the right reasons. We've been able to connect with multiple clients and help people get their ideas out of their head into a digital format with design and stuff. So, not only do we have the agency going, but we have some other courses that we're about to launch that is coming up here shortly. And then obviously the books coming out, that was something that we had talked about that, just we went from one day not having anything to 2 days later, we had 2 books published, which was crazy.
Yeah. And, there's so many courses out there. I look at what we're building, and I mean, we're going to run a 5-day challenge and turn it into a 5-day free course, like not a big deal. It'll kind of go along with the hacking series that we're writing, putting on Amazon, and ultimately utilizing for a lot of fun things. But we're building what I can really more consider it's a program, right? Like it's not just like, there's a lot of hand holding. There's a lot of direct coaching with us. And so it's more than just like, here's money to go learn something. It's no, I'm going to help you, our person that joins us, to go from nothing or where they're at, right, to find that partner to help double or triple their size of their own audience, right? So it's more than just a course. I mean, courses. So many people aren't successful completing courses, right? Because there's no accountability, right? And so we're taking away that, and we're providing an environment where the accountability is there.
Yeah. Now my 22. Just the whole concept of it, it's formulated around that Dream 100 piece. So it's now my Dream 22, where we're able to teach you a process that you can easily, repeat and rinse, and just keep going. After you understand the steps in our framework, you're able to now say, okay, here's how I'm going to level up with these partnerships. To help you create your authority. It's going to help you increase your traffic, your visibility, and your sales all simultaneously, while getting your offer out there.
Yeah. All right, Ron. I think that's all we got for today. So thank you, everyone that is paying attention and listening. We definitely appreciate everything. But if you want to learn more about the Now 22, if you want to learn more about our show, definitely find us anywhere you can do your podcast listening, YouTube watching, or in our Facebook group, .com/groups/hindsight hacking, and jump in our group, and we'll help you in every way possible.
Absolutely, guys. And once again, we thank you for being the best part of the Hindsight Hackers community. Without you, there would be no 50.